have been noticing some strange things that has been happening in my husband's house ever since I got married to him. My marriage is just 6 months and I haven't gotten any peace of mind. Every night when I sleep, I always have a nightmare. Sometimes I find myself in a forest, tied to a tree, screaming for help, or I'll be running from a masquerade with a long rod in his hands. Countless times I would inform my husband, but he would say I shouldn't worry that it is due to what I was thinking before I slept off. But I know it wasn't. Few weeks ago, I got pregnant. I was so happy when I got the doctor's report. I was on top of the world. I couldn't wait to tell my husband when he returned from work. I got home and already found my husband sitting on the couch. I was surprised because he said he won't be returning till 9 p.m. Honey, you are back, I said. Yes, the meeting got cancelled, so I came back to spend some time with you, he said as he hugged me. Well, thank you, but guess what? I said with so much joy in my heart, racking his brain, but he couldn't guess. Honey, I'm pregnant, I said, jumping up immediately. His mood changed. Are you serious? He asked. Yes, babe, look. I handed over the report to him while he quickly glanced through it. I'm so happy right now, babe, I said. I don't even know what to say, he said with a smile. Are you joking right now? What I want you to do is gently carry me to the couch and go to the kitchen and prepare me a romantic dinner for my unborn baby. I teased. He did not even waste any time. He did according to what I said. After the dinner, my husband gently carried me to the bed. He was caressing my tummy and saying some funny words to my unborn child. We got to the room and I was not feeling sleepy, but he urged me to sleep so as to give my baby enough rest. I agreed also and slept. But not long after I dozed off, I had a nightmare and I was so scared from the nightmare. In the dream, I found myself lying on the ground at the forest. I looked around, I saw nothing but bloodstains everywhere. I tried screaming for help, but my strength kept draining every time I wanted to scream. I was weak. What was going on? I tried standing up, but my legs were weak, so I couldn't move. What is happening to me? I was trying to fathom what was going on when suddenly the masquerade appeared to me. I was really scared. I managed to shout for help, but no one was there to help me. The masquerade was laughing at me, and its voice kept suffocating me. I couldn't breathe very well, but one thing I noticed was that the voice, it sounded familiar. From where? Immediately I woke up screaming. My husband came out from the restroom with speed. What happened, honey? Why did you scream? He said. I just had a nightmare, I said, panting heavily. But immediately my husband placed his hand on my stomach. I felt pain. Ah! I screamed. What happened, honey? He asked. I couldn't say anything again because the pain I was feeling in my stomach kept hitting my tummy to indicate what was happening. And before I knew it, I saw blood stain. I looked at my husband, who quickly carried me from the bed into the car and drove to the hospital. We got to the hospital in a jiffy and the nurse attended to me. I was given some treatment before the pain subsided. My husband was sitting next to me. Different thoughts were running through my mind, but I kept hoping it shouldn't be what I was thinking. The doctor came in with his stethoscope round his neck. He greeted my husband. Thank you, doctor, my husband replied. I'm Miss Success. How are you doing now? He said, examining my eye. I nodded in reply. Mr. Success, please let me see you in the office. Doctor, please, what happened? Anything that you want to say it here, my husband said, and I agreed with the doctor, looked at me and shook his head. Sorry, ma, you already have a miscarriage. I couldn't believe my ears. I had a miscarriage. I grabbed the doctor's clothes. What did you say, doc? I said in pain. My husband was preventing me from tearing the doctor's clothes the way I gripped it. No, that can't be possible, I screamed. Calm down, ma, the doctor said, but it's like he doesn't know how it feels to lose a pregnancy. Don't tell me to calm down. Please, honey, I understand your pain, but you need to calm down, my husband said as he sat beside my bed. 2 days later, I was discharged from the hospital and we went back home. My husband was trying to cheer me up, but I was in deep thought as I was trying to fathom how everything happened. It was like a dream to me. After a series of thinking, I later took my mind off it. 2 weeks later, everything was back to normal. I no longer thought about the pregnancy. I just continued my walking and came back evenings, and sometimes I got too tired to prepare dinner. I later complained to my husband one evening. Honey, don't you think we need to employ a house girl? What for? He said in a harsh tone. Most of the time when I come back from work, I'm always tired to prepare dinner for you. And so, did I complain to you? But don't bought me anything. In fact, I already lost my appetite, he said and went into his room. I was surprised. What did I say wrong? Just employ house girl, I said and cleared the table. I went into the room to meet him. He was busy on his laptop, and anytime he saw me, he would just shut it down. He wouldn't want me to see what he was doing. Honey, is it because of what I said that is why you refuse to eat my food, Abi? I said, I have told you I don't want any third party in our marriage. Okay, I'm sorry, I said, caressing his beard. I'm sorry too, he said and stood up with the laptop. Where are you going to? I asked. I need to finish my assignment. But can't you do it here? No, he said. It is confidential, and left. I watched as my husband walked out of the room with the laptop. He must be hiding something from me, I thought to myself. Or he is cheating on me. If that is the case, I will find out soon, I said, and later lay on the bed though. I didn't sleep, thinking and waiting for my husband to come back to bed so that we can both sleep together. But imagine that this guy did not even come back at all. I later slept up, and when I woke up in the morning, my husband wasn't on the bed. I stood up and stretched my hand, went to the bedroom and had a shower, got dressed and then went to the living room. To my surprise, my husband was on the couch sleeping like a log of tree. He was even snoring. His laptop was right on the table and it was switched on. This is my chance, I said. I peeped over the couch and checked him. He was sound asleep. Immediately I tiptoed to the laptop and clicked on the enter button, which displayed my picture. I was about checking the folder. Suddenly I heard a voice. What are you doing? I was startled by my husband, who was awake. He quickly took the laptop and shut it down. I said, what are you doing? He said again, honey, you didn't shut it down, so I wanted to help you. I stammered. Listen very well, woman, stay away from my laptop. Do not shut it down for me, okay? I can tolerate anything, but this laptop, do not come close to it, he said and went inside. I was really surprised. Truly, he is hiding something from me. I prepared breakfast for him, which he refused to eat, but after a series of begging, he later ate. It was almost 8 a.m. and when I was running late for work, I couldn't even finish my breakfast. I had to rush to work. Luckily for me, my boss was not around yet, as I was already brooding over the scenario that happened at home. Something is wrong somewhere. My friend Juliet noticed my mood. She came over to my office. I was not the type of person that tell people my family issue, but right now, I needed to confide in somebody, and that person would be Julia. Julia has been my friend since we were in 100 level. She's trustworthy and we have known each other for the past 7 years, even before I got married. So I didn't see anything wrong in confiding in her. Babe, what's wrong? I have noticed your mood since morning. What happened? She asked. Julia, can I trust you with something? I asked. What happened? She said, as she sat down on the chair opposite mine. There has been something strange and suspicious going on in my marriage, and I don't think you will understand. I said. She frowned her face, thinking about what I said. What is it? Tell me, she said, and I explained everything about the laptop and the house girl issue to her. She didn't take the house girl issue serious, but emphasis on the laptop. Are you for real? Don't you know the tactics of women you can use to check what is on your husband's laptop? She asked. I don't know, I replied. Between me and you, it's like your husband is cheating on you. But do not allow us to jump into conclusion yet. See, I will give you a drug. You put it in his food this night. So when he sleeps off, you understand, she said. I nodded my head in response. Later that day, she gave me a drug. I was not really convenient about it, but I needed to know what was going on. I prepared dinner and dished the food. My husband was in the room as usual, with the laptop. Quickly, I brought out the drugs and poured it into his soup. Shook it together. Honey, dinner is ready, I said, walking into the room. Okay, I will join you soon, he said as he quickly shut down his laptop. He came to the dining table. I was already eating. He quickly dug into the food like an hungry lion, and before I knew it, he was already sleeping. Well done, Juliet, I muttered as I went into the room, but to my surprise, I couldn't find the laptop. I searched under the bed, searched the wardrobe, but I couldn't find it. Where is this laptop, for God's sake? I was so confused about the whole situation. When I came in to inform him that the dinner was ready, he shut down the laptop and came to the dining. Within some seconds, how come I couldn't find the laptop? I Brought out my phone and quickly dialed Juliet's number. Got so good she picked it up. Babe, can you believe I couldn't find the laptop? I said in a whisper. How come? Didn't you know where he do keep it? She asked, but I'm not in the mood for answering any question. So we shall discuss tomorrow, I said, hanging up the phone. The drug I added to his food only lasted for just an hour. And right now, I had turned the bedroom into something else. I quickly arranged everywhere back before he woke up. I came out grinding my teeth as I couldn't find the laptop. But to my shocking surprise, my husband was awake and the laptop was right in front of him. I almost fainted. I was asking myself some rhetorical question that I couldn't answer. Has the laptop been with him the whole time? Did he bring it out to the dining table that I didn't notice? Why did you drug me? He said, shutting down his laptop. I froze. My mouth became heavy for me. I was feeling uneasy. God, what did I want to say? I won't repeat myself again. Why did you drug me? He said, facing me. Honey, I wanted to arrange our bedroom so it wouldn't be different from before. I stammered. You haven't answered my question. He stood up and came to me. My legs were shaking. See, dear, I wanted it to be a surprise. That is why. I'm sorry. He chuckled softly and kissed my forehead. Then he went to the room. I was relieved he didn't suspect anything. The next day, I was in a hurry to work to explain what happened to Juliet. I got to work so early as possible, but Juliet hadn't arrived. I saw some of the co-workers whispering to one another. They wore a sad face, so I was curious. So I called one of them and asked what happened. Ma, we've got news. Juliet is dead. I almost fell to the ground. If not for the help of other colleagues who came to my rescue, I was still doubting. How did it happen? I still spoke to her yesterday night. I asked. According to her co-tenants, they said she was screaming masquerade and ran out of the house. But before they can even ask what was wrong, she was knocked down by a car. One of the co-workers said, hot tears rolled down my face. And why has death done this to me? Why has it taken away my friend at this time I needed her the most? I was taken home by James. I couldn't concentrate at work. Losing a loved one is so painful and bitter experience. James dropped me off in front of my house. As I walked into the house, in an awkward manner, I unlocked the door, flung my bag somewhere else, and dumped myself to the couch sobbing. Why, God? Why have you allowed this to happen? I said, burying my face into my palm. After some minutes of sobbing, I dozed off the couch and I had a dream. I found myself in the same forest I once found myself before I lost my pregnancy. There were bones littered on the ground. Masquerade, I heard the voice echo in my ear. I stood up, scanning the whole place in a second. I could see from a distance the same masquerade that do pursue me running after a lady. The lady was shouting for help. The masquerade kept chasing her and laughing hysterically with his rod in his hand. I ran after them with all my strength, hoping to save the lady. But before I could catch up with them, the masquerade had already killed the lady with his rod. I stopped seeing what happened. The masquerade was laughing hysterically again. Its voice was ringing in my ears. The voice sounded like the voice I do hear every day. Suddenly, the masquerade turned to me with fear. I jotted up from the couch. What happened? A voice asked when I turned around. It was my husband smiling at me with his laptop in his hand. I jerked, seeing him standing in front of me. I was really scared. He sat on the couch near me with the intention of placing his hand on me. But I stood up, avoiding him. I rushed into the room and locked the door. Something is wrong somewhere. Why am I seeing this masquerade? Julia shouted masquerade before she got knocked down by a car. It was the same masquerade that came chasing me before I lost my pregnancy. And one thing about masquerade is that its voice sounds familiar, but where? I was racking my brain, really trying hard to figure out the answers to my problem, but not even a single clue came to my mind. My husband knocked on the door instantly. I was frightened. I stood motionless in the room, thinking maybe he would stop, but he didn't. Honey, why did you lock the door? He said. Sorry about that, I said and opened the door for him. He came into the room smiling. I was curious. Honey, why are you smiling? Just guess. He said, you know I'm not good at guessing. I said, okay. You know the other day I left the room, you asked me where I was going to. I said I needed to finish an assignment, which was confidential. Yes, I remember. The assignment is actually a contract. And guess what? I have been given that contract. He said, jubilating. I was confused. I don't understand what is going on again. So you mean you have been doing assignment all this while? I asked. Yes. What else were you thinking I was doing? Just kidding. So do you know that the best part that we are moving away from this apartment into a new one. Really, I jumped up, hugging him tightly. This is good news, and it calls for celebration, I said with a smile. Yet, but that will be later because we are moving in right now, he said. I was so happy. This is wonderful, I said, and started packing. But he told me not to. New clothes are already in the new house. Just let us go, he said, and we catwalked out of the house into the car. I was really excited about the whole new change that I forgot about my predicament. The new house was just in my mind. After some minutes of driving, we arrived at a two-story building. It was beautiful. Just by looking at it, you could tell it worth millions of naira. I did not bother to ask him how he got such amount of money to secure an expensive house like this, since he already said he got a contract. The house is fine, honey, I said in amazement. You haven't seen anything. Let us go inside first, he said, flipping the car keys in his hands. I was just jumping around with the way I was so excited. The door opened. Chai, the decoration was beyond what I could explain. My picture was already on the walls. There I was surprised. How come did you get my picture here? I asked. That is the easiest thing, honey. Let us go upstairs and see the other rooms, he said, as he held my hand and we both walked majestically upstairs like a newly wedded couple. There were 5 rooms in a row, making it a total of 10. The ones downstairs were also much, but I didn't count it. I was checking out the rooms one by one. They were all furnished with a TV set in each room. I got to the last room and I was about to open it, but my husband became on me. Honey, don't go there. You can enter any other room in this house, but this one, don't come near it, he said. Why? I asked, looking at him suspiciously. You see this room isn't well built. It is still under construction. Are you sure? I asked. Yes, now, let's go check our matrimonial bedroom, he said, pushing me to the room. We entered into our bedroom. It was really big, and the bed was very large and soft. I examined everywhere in the room I dreamt to live in, I said in my mind. So what do you think, he asked. To be honest, I love this place, I said. He was really happy as he heard me say that. He hugged me passionately. Okay, now, can you please do me a favor? Please walk into the kitchen and prepare me a delicious dinner. Food, I am famished, he said. Trust me, what I want to prepare for you is going to blow your mind, I said, and went downstairs to the kitchen. It was as if my husband had been living in this house before I opened the store. In surprise, there were a lot of foodstuff in it. Chai! Mary, you will enjoy yourself till you die, I said to myself, and took some ingredients I needed in making a special and delicious ofada rice for my husband. Within minutes, I was done. I set the table and dished food to my husband, who was watching football match. He was tense seeing his team losing the game. I do wonder why men love watching football like this. Honey, dinner is ready, I said. He looked up to the table to confirm, but he seemed less concerned about what was on his mind as he was watching the ongoing football. I will join you after the match, he said, fixing his gaze back to the match. But you said you were hungry. I know, but this match is very important. So you mean that this match is very important to me than your wife, Abi? I said, knowing that he would leave the match and join me in the dining table. He looked at me surprisingly and came to the dining table. Why will you say the match is more important to you than me? You know that you are my wife and I love you so much. Nothing is more important than you, he said, and pecked my cheek. He sat down and took a spoonful of ofada rice. Jesus, he shouted. What happened? This food is delicious, he said with a smile. I was already blushing. Thank you. You are all I got. We continued eating our food. Not up to 3 minutes, a message popped up on his laptop. He paused for a moment, looked at the time. It was just minutes past 7. He looked at me in a suspicious way. Excuse me, please, he said, and took his laptop and went upstairs. Now this time, I know there's something fishy about my so-called husband. I watched as he walked upstairs with the laptop. Now I know that I have to do something. My friend Juliet, whom I usually confide in, is now dead. I was just alone, back to square one. I will surely figure out what was going on, I said. I finished eating and cleared the table. My husband didn't come back to finish his food or even the football match. I went upstairs to the room, but he wasn't there. I could hear him taking a shower in the bedroom. His laptop was right on the bed. I quickly rushed to click the enter button. It displayed my picture, but unfortunately for me, there was a password. What can be his password, oh? I said, racking my brain. But I couldn't figure it out. My husband was already finished bathing. I quickly lay on the bed and pretended to be sleeping. When he came out of the bedroom with the towel on his waist, he looked at me and took a look at his laptop. He unlocked it, but I was unable to see it. After minutes, he shut it down and left the room. He kept doing it every night and won't come back until 3 a.m. I was really suspicious about this moment. Where is he always going to? 2 weeks later, I was feeling sick. I was vomiting and sleeping during day. Seems like the symptoms I had before I went to the hospital for checkup. After some series of tests run by the doctor, it turns out that I was pregnant. I was happy. This is what I have been looking for the whole time. I collected the report from the doctor with excitement. As soon as I came out of the hospital, I brought out my phone to dial my mother's number. It's been a while since I heard her voice, but as I was about to dial that, a little child came to me. Madam, I was sent by you to tell you to be very careful and prayerful about what you do. Amma, make sure you pray before sleeping tonight. The child said and left. I was just looking at the child as he ran across the road to buy some things. I was seriously shocked at what the child said. I must pray before I sleep. My mind went straight to my mother. I dialed her number and explained my encounter with the child. She didn't even waste any time. She told me to put a call to her pastor immediately. I called him, and after explaining everything, he gave me a psalm to read before I slept. Getting home, my husband was sitting on the couch, waiting for my arrival. I began to feel uncomfortable immediately I sighted him. Honey, welcome, he said, hugging me. Thank you, I replied. How is the test you went to run in the hospital? He said, dropping the cup of tea he was holding. My heart skipped a beat. But how did he know about that? I didn't inform him I was going to the hospital. How did you know I was there? I asked. Well, I passed through the area store today and I saw your car parked there. He said, okay, it's just malaria. The doctor have prescribed drugs I'm going to use. I said and went upstairs. My mind wasn't at rest. What was going on? I felt I was in danger. I quickly brought out my Bible, opened to the verse the pastor gave to me. After I finished reading it, I began to pray so passionately, just as I was told. When last have I prayed like this? All my clothes were soaked in sweat. I rounded up my prayer and lay on my bed and dozed off. I had a dream, or should I say I saw a vision. I saw myself lying on the floor. In the same forest again, I was hearing the voice of a lady shouting for help. I stood up and saw the same lady I saw before. The masquerade was running after her with his long rod. I started running after them, trying my best to save the lady, but the masquerade killed her just like before. I was panting seeing what happened, but like a surprise to me, I saw the face of the lady lying on the floor. It was my friend Juliet. I was shocked. How come? I asked myself. Suddenly, the masquerade turned to me and removed his mask. It was my husband. My husband looked at me as though he was proud of what he did. He put on his masquerade back and started laughing hysterically, dragged Juliet into a place that looked like a shrine. Everything transformed back into our new house. I could see my husband sleeping on the bed. Suddenly, a message popped up on his laptop. He stood up and checked it. I walked behind him to check what he was actually hiding from me. When I got behind him, I saw him chatting with a person named Ogumanki. The person texted, "You haven't fulfilled your promise, Ogumeje. I just need some time." Ogumanki, the lady has been suspicious about my movement. My husband replied, "Your last sacrifice has expired," the person texted, "but I still offer the group her baby and her friend. And the group gave you what? Just as you have requested. Now, you need to show that you are interested in it. Most especially the leader. He wants to know what is taking you so long for the next sacrifice," the person texted. My husband shut down his laptop and stood up. Tears rolled down my cheek. So my husband is the one responsible for my miscarriage and also the death of my friend Juliet. No wonder he never allowed me to come close to his laptop. I followed him to where he was heading to. I was shocked to see him enter the room he told me never to enter. Why was he going into that room? I entered the room. It was a shrine. I was really scared. Seeing skull tied to the wall, my husband spread his hands apart and recited some incantation. Suddenly, some people in black appeared. The whole room shook immediately. "Ogumeje, what happened? It is time you renew your wealth," a person named Ajagun said. Seems as though he was the leader. Ajagun, "I know, but I need more time," my husband said. "Time is not on your side. Listen, your woman, who you want to use, has figured out your secret. You need to go now and bring her." Ajagun laughed hysterically. "Oh my God, so he wants to use me," I shouted. "You need to bring her." Now that she's sleeping, it is your chance. No problem. I will even add interest because she's pregnant. I will use both her and the child, my husband said all of a sudden, and they both burst in laughter. How can he do this to me? He claimed to love me, so he was actually deceiving me all this while. I woke up from my dream. By a person's tap, fearfully I opened my eyes. It was my husband standing in front of me. Fear gripped me. I wanted to shout, but he seized my voice. Before I could even think of anything, he brought a white substance, read some incantation, and blew it onto my face. Immediately, I felt dizzy and sleepy at the same time. I tried my best not to sleep, but the power was too strong for me. I gave in. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in the shrine. My legs and hands were tied like a cow, about to get slaughtered. The same people I saw in my dream were standing reciting some incantation. The whole shrine was shaking. I didn't know what to do to these people because they seemed powerful. It's time for the sacrifice, Ogumeje, Ajagu said, handing him over a knife with a black cloth tied to its handle. My husband collected it with joy and moved closer to me. Success, please, can you tell me what I have done to deserve all this? I said with tears. You really know why? He said, and I nodded in reply. You ladies are always after a guy that has money and not a poor man. Remember when I was still poor and I asked you out? Do you know what you did to me? You lambasted me and embarrassed me in front of everybody, saying that you can never get married to a poor man like me who has no future. Do you remember? Now that I am rich, I asked you out. You didn't think twice. You accepted my proposal, but you never knew the source of my wealth. He said, please, I'm sorry for what I have done, babe. I take back everything I said. Please, I pleaded with tears in my eyes. No, please, I will do anything, I said in tears. The only thing you can do for me is to let me use you to renew my wealth. My husband said, and I could see he had already made up his mind. Mary, so this is the end. Look at where you have ended your life because of money. God, I know you can hear me. I know you, and I know that this is a result of my past behavior. But Lord, your word says the time of ignorance. God winked at. Father, if you can save me from this, I promise to preach to people how you have saved me and preach to them to turn away from their sinful ways. But Father, if this is the end, have mercy on me. Let me enter your kingdom, I said in agony. Ogumeje, offer the sacrifice now, Ajagu said. Immediately my husband raised the knife. A light ray just appeared in the shrine. I couldn't see anything, but I was hearing them shout, fire, fire, where? I said, trying to see what was going on, but I couldn't see a thing. The light was so bright that I closed my eyes. Suddenly, I noticed a hand carried me, but I didn't see anyone. The hand carried me within a second and dropped me. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in front of my mother's church. Jesus, I shouted, running into the church. The service was still going on when I entered. The people were scared. They thought I was a mad woman. I ran to the front of the altar, rolling to the ground, shouting, Jesus, I thank you. I kept saying that for some minutes before the pastor tapped me and asked, what happened to me? I explained everything to him, while the whole congregation were listening. When I finished, they all shouted, Jesus is Lord. Some fell on their knees crying for forgiveness, while others were rolling on the floor, praising God. Since then, I repented from my sinful way and started going to church frequently. I later found another man who married me, and of the glory of God, I had given birth to three children. All glory, they say, belongs to God.